parents and guardians. Nice to meet you. My name is Christina Ray, and I am your child's ERWC teacher, which is our English 12 course. It's an expository reading and writing course created by the CSU. Since we can't be together in person for back to school night this year, I just wanted to record a brief video that will cover everything that I would have otherwise covered if we were here in my classroom in person. All right, a bit about me before we jump into the meat of the course itself. I was educated for all of my higher education at UC Davis, where I got my bachelor's degree in communications with minors in psychology and sociology with a sociology of law emphasis. So my initial plan when going to college, as many of us know, doesn't always stay consistent with what we end up doing with our lives, was to be either a civil rights lawyer or a social worker. Those were kind of my two paths that I was really looking at. So I went to work in the non-public school at a residential treatment facility, a level 14 residential treatment facility with youth age 7 to 17. After a few years there, I discovered that perhaps social work wasn't for me, but I did love the classroom aspect of what I did. I loved working with the students in the classroom, helping them to learn, and it helped me to realize that perhaps my own path was to stay in the classroom and to become a teacher, specifically of high school students. Those high school age students were really where my heart was. At that residential treatment facility. So I went back to UC Davis to get my teaching credential. I am credentialed in English, theater, and sociology, and I stuck around for my master's in education as well. I started my teaching career in Fairfield and then worked at a project-based learning charter academy in Davis, and this is now my 7th year at Vista Del Lago. I absolutely love this school. I love this community. I serve as our English division lead. I'm also one of our district's equity leads. And just really love to stay involved in as many ways as I possibly can. Even took on the cheer squad with advising this year, so new things on the horizon. A bit about how I run my classroom. I really do feel like respect is absolutely crucial and the key to success in the classroom. Most importantly, I believe that it's important for students to respect themselves and to take agency in their own educational experience. Since this is their last year of high school, they're almost ready to go off into the world. Some of them are already like, we're ready, let's go. It's really important that they carry that self-respect with them wherever they go. Also, I always emphasize how important it is for them to respect each other, for them to respect their teachers. I will always respect them. Part of that is clear communication on everything that I'm asking them to do on all the assignments. And I also provide an open and non-threatening classroom environment. We talk a lot in this class. There's quite a bit of discussion about hot topics and issues that are happening in our world today. So I think it's very important that they're able to come to those conversations knowing that there's a mutual respect that will always be underlying in our classroom. So they can speak their minds, they can share their thoughts and their opinions without fear of judgment or threat. I'll always give them clear expectations as well. I think that's a very crucial piece of respect that comes from me. Anytime that they are graded on something that will affect their overall letter grade, it will be accompanied by a rubric. So we'll always go over those rubrics before we go into any given assignment. All right, a bit about the grading and late work policy. So grades are weighted as they are in all classes at Vista. Because this is senior year of English, our weights have changed a little bit. So summative assignments are weighted at 90% of their grade, while formatives are weighted at only 10% of their grade. Many of those summative assessments can be rewritten or revised if all formative work is submitted and they followed the appropriate revision process. As far as late work in some instances can hold a student back from revision, so we really discourage it. They won't be graded down for submitting their work late, but we do ask that they complete a form, which is on Google Classroom, which should be submitted the week that that assignment was due. So that's sort of the piece of the late work policy. It can affect revision, and there's a form that must be submitted that will help to keep them aware of their own habits when it comes to late work, as well as a communication tool for me. Late work you will see reflected on the citizenship grade, not the overall grade. A bit of an overview of the course itself. It is an expository reading and writing course. There are 7 to 8 modules, which is what the CSU system calls their units. And there are some specific benefits of this course for the UC system, the CSU system, and the California Community College system. So if a student had scored conditionally ready on the EAP, if they pass this course with a C or better, they are now considered ready. So it gets them out of remedial English in college. So something to consider that for students, this course could literally be saving them hundreds of dollars in college. All right, our focus is really rhetorical analysis throughout, so this is where we kick it off with Module 1. Right now we're in the middle of our rhetorical analysis unit. We've been looking critically at speeches through a rhetorical lens. We'll be writing about those speeches. You'll see 2 summatives come in the gradebook here at the end of the week, so that you'll finally see something that's impacting their grades. And so far we've been doing quite a bit of practice, and now we're in the feedback stages of that. From here they move on to rhetorically analyzing literature, specifically poetry, even more specifically Shakespeare's sonnets. So a really great start to a course that's centered around rhetoric. We then move into inquiry and research. This is an exciting new module for us from 3.0, version 3.0 of the ERWC course. We'll be seeking answers to our biggest questions, and they'll be following it up with an annotated bibliography. So really learning how to evaluate sources, how to gather sources from different sites, as well as journals. Peer-reviewed academic journals are going to be a big focus here, and they will get to develop their own inquiry question and seek the sources that would answer it, then create an annotated bibliography, as if they were to write an essay next. We then move into our first full text study, which is Into the Wild by Jon Krakauer. We'll be focusing on close reading strategies and annotation, and we'll end this unit with an argumentative essay that examines what the heck is up with Chris McCandless, who is the youth that Jon Krakauer is writing about. He's got quite a bit of slant and bias when it comes to McCandless, so we'll be examining if Krakauer had a fair assessment of who McCandless was, or if in fact he was wrong and perhaps the kid was a narcissist or maybe unstable or just an egomaniac who didn't understand what he was doing. So a really great text that we'll be reading together and breaking down, learning some close reading strategies. We then open up the next quarter with juvenile justice, and your students will be doing a research-based argumentative presentation about some aspect of the justice system when it comes to juveniles. So as a full group, we're going to do a lot of discussion about the idea of juveniles being charged as adults for violent crime, and whether or not it would be considered cruel and unusual punishment to put a child in prison for life, or to charge them as an adult. And then they will get to choose their own thing that they want to research and present us a research-based argument on some aspect of the juvenile justice system. We then move into our second full text, which is the wonderful dystopian novel 1984 by George Orwell, where we will engage in lots of literary analysis. We'll build on those close reading strategies that we started to develop in our Into the Wild unit, and they will be presented with a huge list of critical theory-based prompts, and they will select one to write to, and will engage in more exploration on 1984 by George Orwell. And then our last full unit is The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. It is a more contemporary piece of fiction. We'll be again focusing on close reading and exploration of voice. Not just developing our own voices, but then we will tie that into an argument on how we can give voice to the voiceless, ending with a research-based argumentative speech on some aspect of language, gender, or culture. So hugely broad set of topics here that students can explore, and we'll be connecting this back to The Kite Runner as we look at the various voiceless characters and the themes and the topics that are being denied voice in the story itself, to inspire them to come up with what they want to talk about for their final argumentative speech. So that kind of breaks down all those units. So the grading is on the 6-point scale, much as it has been for the last few years in all of their English courses, so nothing too new there. But just to give you a bit of a breakdown on the 6-point scale itself, the purpose of grades in this class is to communicate information about their learning and their achievement to you, to themselves, to others, to me, and so it's important that they're able to do self-evaluation in that process as well. So there are 6 different proficiency levels that we're looking at there, as opposed to the traditional 100 levels. I think you'd be hard-pressed to find someone who could explain to you the difference between a 94 and a 95 on the 100-point scale. I envision a rubric that has literally 100 proficiency bands, because that's what a 100-point scale is telling us, is that there are 100 different descriptors of proficiency where one could lie. We've taken that and narrowed it down to 6, which helps to identify or group students for educational pathways or programs. It does incentivize. We cannot deny that grades incentivize students for learning. It also helps us to evaluate the effectiveness of our instructional programs. So we're using descriptors in this case, not percentages, and we're looking at skills and learning targets, not assignments. So for the language of the rubric, the 1 would be the unsatisfactory level. It relates to kind of like the traditional F. We typically see this if a student has maybe blown off an assignment or really not understood the direction, so completely missed the point or the purpose of the assignment. The 2 is the novice level, more related to the traditional D. This is saying that the student's still at the beginning level. They're not quite understanding the skills. There are lots of key crucial points that they're missing in order to be able to move to the next level. The 3 is the approaching level, tied to that traditional C level. The 3 tells us that the student is almost there. They're near proficiency. There might be one skill that just needs a little bit of work. We'd be comfortable moving forward to the next level, but we'd want to be sure that we address whatever aspect of that skill is being missed. The 4, like the traditional B, is proficient. It's saying that the student is hitting those grade level expectations. They are good to go. It doesn't really go above or beyond or demonstrate any advanced learning. However, they're hitting the standard in a way that shows that they understand this skill. It's pretty good. The 5 is the advanced level, the traditional kind of A-, B+ area, telling us that the student is performing above grade level in that performance skill. And then finally, the 6, the exemplary, the chef's kiss, really saying that this student has not only mastered this subject, they're able to do it stylistically as well. So this is where we see that traditional, like, man, you could teach this to the class level of performance. And they will be receiving models for these various performance levels for different assignments as well. A little bit about where to get information. The Student Hub is Google Classroom. That's where students will find their assignments, their activities. Digital collaboration will happen there. If there's something that needs to be recorded, I will post that for them there as well. Grades will be updated frequently. You'll see those go into PowerSchool. Keep in mind that there are the summative and formative categories. There's also an ungraded category where sometimes things are tracked with just check marks. That communicates to me, to the student, and to you as well. Yes, the student did this work, or no, the student did not. Because we do quite a bit of practice that's ungraded or no stakes before we get to those formative low stakes and the high stakes summatives. But even those practice things, I want to be sure to communicate and track whether those things are being done or if they are not. And then finally, a new addition this year for me is my website. So we always have had the Vista del Lago website where you can hit teacher pages and find various teacher pages. Mine now links you here. So there's a link on mine that will take you here. It says, hey, go check out my Google site. This is where I will be posting information for you on a weekly basis, sometimes more often. So I just want to walk you through what's on this site. It has a little welcome. This is also where you will find these course expectations. So you'll get that email today. Additionally, you can look here and see on this side, the ERWC course expectations. You are to sign these, please, if your student did not yet tell you that. So when you click to open up this document, you will be taken through my course expectations. Please be sure to read them. Your students have also read them. It covers everything I've said here, plus a few more things. And down at the bottom here, if you could just click this Parent Guardian link, which will take you to a Google form to acknowledge that you have read and understood the course expectations, and you can then communicate anything you need to me through that form as well. Additionally, on this website, if you click on the ERWC tab at the top, you will be taken to my weekly overviews. So every week I will be creating an overview video or a presentation that kind of talks through for students and for you what we are covering that week so that I can answer any questions that students may have on that Monday. So you'll see these uploaded onto the website at some point during the day on Sunday. And then finally, our rubrics will be uploaded here as well. So as we have more assignments, more assessments, you'll see rubrics load here. Currently we're working on rhetorical analysis, so our rhetorical analysis rubric is right here. So if at any point you would like to see the tools used for assessment or for grading in this class, definitely come to this rubric section here. So this website is where you will go for pretty much anything that you need as far as my class goes. If you have further questions, email is truly the easiest way to reach me. I check my email frequently, and I will always do my best to get back to you as soon as possible, but no later than 2 days. All right, thank you so much for watching this Back to School Night presentation, and I hope that you have a wonderful evening, and I'm looking forward to an excellent year with your students. Bye.